All my childhood, I loved to come to the village. Clean air, endless expanses, freedom from the hustle and bustle of the city. Now my son is growing up. I am not working yet, and we have been happy to spend the summer in the village for 3 years in a row. I know every house, every nook and cranny, every path. You walk down the street and remember who lived here. You remember the names, the faces of smiling grandmothers. In general, nostalgia. 2 years ago, when I returned to the city, I found out that my grandmother had disappeared in our village. Drunk grandfather, drunk to the devil, beat her and pushed her out the door at night. I overslept and only remembered everything in the morning. I called the children. They came, started looking, called the police. In short, the search lasted 5 days and ended safely when the grandmother was found under a road bridge a few hundred meters from the village. She was crouched in a thin chemise and galoshes on her bare feet. Naturally, she was already dead for several days. She probably froze the first night. I've known these people all my life. I knew that this grandfather, Matthew's grandfather, was angrier than the devil himself, probably chasing his grandmother all his life. By the way, my grandmother's name was Catherine. She walked all the time with a humble smile on her face, never drove us. Unlike grandfather Matthew, he didn't even let anyone near the yard. But whether it was good or bad, they lived a long life together, raised children, grandchildren, and in the end, this is it. Well, in general, I found out all this then on the phone from a friend. I was sad, of course, and forgot. A year ago, in 2015, my son and I moved back to the village for the whole summer. My friend and her children also came there. There is not much entertainment in the village. One of them was a trip to the river to swim. The second was a trip to the ice cream shop. And so one day my friend and I go to the store with the children. We pass by the house of Matthew's grandfather. We look, and he is sitting on the bench. We said hello, and suddenly he asked me to come to him. It was so strange to hear him say anything other than swearing. Well, we approach. The legs will not fall off. And he grabs us by the hands, tries to put us next to him. Tears in his eyes, his voice breaks. One of them was a trip to the river to swim. The second was a trip to the ice at first. He smiled at the kids, kept repeating how bored he was alone in the house. The children rarely come. Only they will bring food, turn around and leave. And then, looking at one point, he began to talk without stopping, as if afraid that he would not have time to speak out. I will write on his behalf. I woke up one night, a couple of months after my wife's funeral, went out to the mailbox. It was cold. Hurried into the house. I pushed the door, and it seems to be closed from the other side. I tried to open it for a long time. Nothing happened. I feel my legs have become numb from the cold. I went to the neighbors, woke them up. They came, pushed, and the door is not locked. It's strange, but I didn't attach any importance. After some time, I began to wake up at night from the fact that it is very cold. Although the heating is working, I do not regret the gas, and my feet are freezing very much. Well, I think I got cold then. I'll go away, but it was not there. My legs were freezing, aching, and began to gradually refuse. Now I move only around the house with a wand, and now I crawl out on the bench. And that, girls, is not the worst thing. Once I just dozed off, I hear someone scratching at the door. Hobbled, I ask, "Who? What are you doing wandering around at night?" At first it was quiet outside the door, and then someone started moaning. He groans and scratches at the door again. I swore at the mischievous and went to bed. Everything was quiet for a couple of nights. Then it only gets worse. I'm sleeping, and through a dream I hear some kind of fuss in the kitchen. Got up, went out, turned on the light. No one. I was just about to leave when there were noises again. And I understand that they are from the basement. He turned on the flashlight, somehow bent down, put the candle into the darkness, hoping to see something. And then it began to blow on me so cold that I almost stopped breathing. and before the flashlight fell out of his numb hands, he managed to see some movement in the corner, as if someone was swarming the size of a child for the first time in their lives. Probably girls. It became scary. I've never been afraid of God or the devil, and here I was just numb with horror. I woke up on the floor. I was very cold. It was already getting light. I began to be a little afraid to stay at home. But where are you going with a wand? And even in winter, I'll turn on the TV for the whole. So the days pass, and at night comes fear. The first time I saw her was in the winter. There was a knock on the window. I got up. I thought, a neighbor. I look out. The light from the lantern illuminates well. I look. My Catherine is standing. He is facing the window, but he is not looking at me, but at the back of the room. And then, like something banging on the roof, I looked away for a second, and when I looked out the window again, she was gone. The next night she came again. I didn't sleep. I was lying down. I felt that she would come. Catherine knocked on the window. I looked out. Now, girls, she was looking at me. It was so scary, as if she was turning my soul inside out with her eyes. Then the knocking started on all the windows, and she just stood there and watched. I'm afraid to turn away, and I'm afraid to keep looking at her. And I haven't learned a single prayer in my whole life. Probably from the strong tension, my consciousness became clouded. I only felt that I was falling, and there was pain in my temple. I hit my head hard. In the morning, I somehow called my son, who, however, arrived, took him to the hospital. They kept me there for 10 days with a slight concussion. I slept there. It was so good, so not scary. When they came to write out, I kissed their hands, asked them to leave, even offered money. But my son came and took me home. I didn't even ask him. I know they will never forgive me. That same night she appeared, feisty, howling under the window, banging on the door. I didn't get up. I lay there and listened. And I still listen almost every night. Only now, I've started dreaming. She says that she is waiting for me, that I will not hide from her anywhere there, and how she will suck my blood to the last drop. Here, girls, I would like to die now. I'm very tired, but I'm also afraid to die. I'm afraid of her. In short, he talked for a long time, but we didn't even dare to move. And when he seemed to have dozed off, we got up quietly and left. My friend and I didn't say a word all the way. After that, we saw him almost every day on the same bench, but he no longer paid any attention to us. I know he's still alive. We are going to the village again soon. I hope to see him, and maybe even talk.